You've learned your Meteor weaves. Now what comes next? Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today, we are diving into the wild and wonderful world of Meteor weaves. Before we do dive in, however, just a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow DNA, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. And a special thanks to the first non-business friend of the channel, Johnny Howard. Thanks so much for your support, Johnny. So we all know this scenario. You've learned a new poi trick. You've put in so much time, energy, and effort into getting it down. And the thought of doing that for a whole other trick just feels really, really daunting. So what do you do in the meantime? Well, as it turns out, in a lot of cases, there are things that you can apply that knowledge that you've gained in learning that one trick to something that's either an easy variation or something that utilizes that same knowledge. So that's pretty cool. And hence this series, this is my answer to that question. What comes next? And today's video is a request from DVance55. That is, we are taking on Meteor weaves today. Ooh. So I will full up admit that this one's just a little bit complicated by the fact that, I have some very specific things that I like going to after learning Meteor weaves, but they may not necessarily be everybody's cup of tea. And nothing wrong with that, but do know that this video is going to rest very, very heavily on things that are common to my style and maybe not as common to other people's. You have been warned. Because I am going to use this video as a way to plug some of my favorite Meteor tricks, and I hope y'all are down for it. So let's dive in. First and foremost, you have to check out multi-beat Meteor weaves. So, here's the deal. In order to get down a lot of the more advanced stuff when it comes to Meteor weaves, you have to be able to switch off from just doing a simple 2-beat, that is thumb led, to being able to do pinky led weaves and being able to do this on both sides of your body. And I've already got a video that deconstructs all of the cool things that you can do when, say, you're able to add 1 beat to one side of the weave or subtract 1 from another side. Suffice to say, it gets real trippy real quick, but I'm going to leave a link to that video down in the description because if you want to go down this road, it's a really rewarding one. This is also really helpful for the same reason that 5-beat weaves are helpful, namely that you can kind of pause the action for a little while and make the weave trip out just a little bit longer if you happen to want to just draw out the tension of the moment just a little bit more. Seriously, this is such a deep rabbit hole, I highly recommend. All right, now here's where it starts getting wild, because the next thing I'm going to throw at you is doing Meteor waist straps. So this is going to be kind of strange because I'm actually throwing 2 moves at you for the price of 1, but look at it this way. There's both the option of remaining, say, thumb or pinky led the entire way through a weave, which I personally think looks awesome, but there's also the option of switching off between thumb led and pinky led to do a Meteor waist strap with as few beats as possible. And there are some very, very useful things that you can do once you get down that thumb to pinky transition, one of which is going to wind up being the last trick that I show off in this video. But suffice it to say, those techniques are just good to learn either which way. To say nothing of the fact that the thumb-led one alone just gives you so much more control over what you're doing and allows you to move around and turn with the weave in ways that you couldn't otherwise. You learn it for the same reason that you learn any waist strap. It frees up ease of movement, and I'm a fan of that. Now, the technique of turning from the thumb lead to the pinky lead, if you're going to do a minimal beat waist strap, that is kind of tricky, but fortunately, I do have a tutorial on how to do that, so I'm going to leave a link to that down in the description. Yeah, it's well worth it, trust me. And before we dive into the final trick for this video, I have a favor I need to ask. And that is, if you are enjoying this video, if you are getting a kick out of any of my videos, whether they be the tutorials, the vlogs, the reviews, what comes next, etc., then please consider subscribing to my channel. Not only does that mean that you are the first to know when I drop a new video, but it also helps my channel grow, and that is good for me. So please and thank you. Yeah? And now for our final option, drum roll please, we have Meteor flowers. Okay, so a funny thing happens when we switch over to controlling both poi with one hand, and that is it basically becomes impossible to do flowers in the traditional way where we keep them in wall plane the entire time. You have to do your flowers in such a way that the poi moves back and forth in front of and behind you. And fun fact, you know how you can turn a traditional waist strap into a fountain? Well, it turns out that's also possible with a Meteor weave. So we make use of that point where we switch back and forth between thumb and pinky end to become the top and bottom petals of a whole flower. This is just straight up one of my favorite Meteor moves of all time, not the least of which because it looks nothing like a weave. In fact, if I didn't tell you that it was a weave, I doubt many of you would know it without having to really zoom in there and keep track of what was happening with each end of the poi. But I will also say that visually, it's just one of the coolest things that I think you can do out there with a Meteor. It takes up so much room and you can do both in-spin and anti-spin variations. It's pretty amazing, I gotta say. And that is why it is my final pick for what comes next after you learn Meteor weaves. Did I include your favorite trick here? Did I miss any that I shouldn't have? Let me know down in the comments. And before I set you all loose, I just want to put out a huge thank you because this video would not be possible without the kind support of these amazing people right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they, along with the people listed down in the description, help to make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. If you would like to sign up to support me in my mission of bringing flow arts and poi spinning to the wider world and helping people connect with their brains and their bodies as creative individuals, you can do so by heading on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and signing up. There you can get early access to all of my content as well as a say in what topics I tackle in the future, plus some other awesome rewards like, say, a personal lesson that gets delivered to your inbox every week. That is an exclusive that is available only to my Patreon subscribers. So go check that out. Please and thank you. What tricks would you like to see me cover in what comes next? Leave me a comment and let me know. It is your requests that generate most of this content. So keep them coming, pretty please, yeah? Awesome. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to include a link to other videos like this one down in the description, as well as up on screen here if you happen to be watching on YouTube. Please make sure to get out today or this weekend and get your flow on. It's good for your brain and your body. And I will see you with a new video on Monday. Peace.